Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Growth Diary. And my guest today has spent 30 years in a family business selling vending machines. He decided to start all over again in a completely different industry. So he runs Boullies, which is a company specialising in bespoke itinerary travel experiences. So great to have you on, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. It's great to be here.
So thinking back to the very beginning, you spent about 30 years in that family business selling vending machines, right? So what was the moment where you just hit a wall and thought, you know what, travel is the thing I want to do? How did you know that was going to be the answer for you?
Truth is that I didn't know that was going to be the answer. I guess after 30 years in a family business, it's a very, very long time to be working with family. Anybody who's worked with family will know it's a tough gig at the best of times. So yeah, it was a time, it was a long time coming, and eventually just decided that it was time to do something different. So I kind of started off as an engineer and I worked my way up through it, and then in an operations management role, and then more selling and stuff as well with it. So yeah, it just kind of came to a point where the family life was suffering because of the work life and everything else. It just needed to change. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I left and looking for inspiration and what else I could do. I decided upon travel for several reasons, really. And I'm kind of looking back, and I suppose some of them were unconscious decisions that I made, but based upon a bit of history. And as I can reflect back, one of the things that I recall doing throughout my family time in the business was always being too busy to travel. And we barely had family holidays. We always wanted them. We tried to have them. And we went down to a very famous high street travel agent. And we finally squeezed a bit of time at the diary. We went down, I had a conversation, found what we wanted, asked them if they could just phone me the next day because I have to go back and check work dates and things like that. And they never phoned. And it sounds really daft when you look back on it now, but because I didn't get that phone call, I didn't have a holiday for over a year. And I was just so busy. It was when I was in work, I'd be first in the office, last out. Never had time to stop and prioritize anything personal. Everything was always work, work, work. When I got home in the evening, it would be work calls, it would be emails, constant things to do all the time. So I never picked back up again doing that. And then I didn't want to go back down and start again from scratch and go through it all over again. So I never had a holiday that year. And I think that's probably one of the contributing factors to me deciding to do something different. I also love travel. You know, who doesn't love travel, really, getting out and about and seeing things? And I saw an advert that came up when I was looking at something else to do, and it just came up on my feed, and it was about I'm kind of working from home and being able to sell holidays, and it just really kind of struck a chord with me, and something I wanted to do, and I wanted to change and do something that was completely unique for myself. Start again, completely different industry as well, so I could just get away from everything that was history and completely start afresh for myself. So that's really why I kind of chose travel. It wasn't really a previously meditated process. That's what I want to do in life.
And through that, you decided to join a franchise model, which probably helped structure the learning curve of getting into a completely new industry. How important was the framework that delivered in the early days, especially? And what did you have to figure out yourself that the franchise couldn't teach you?
So you don't realize it when you're starting out in something new. I think, especially when you've been so set in an industry for such a long time in one company, you forget about learning things. I mean, you do it naturally anyway, you learn every day, but you forget about having to start off from scratch somewhere, and you forget what it's like coming into a new organization or new company. So I kind of liked the idea of all of the support. I liked the idea of the conversations I was having with people. We seemed to be on the same wavelength. And I settled for a company called Not Just Travel, and there's several different companies out there. And it isn't the cheapest option, but I'm so glad that I did go with that option because the level of support that you get from them was really high. The structures you mentioned, everything's there, it's in place. And only after I joined did I start to realize just how much I needed the structure. And being an operations person in background, it's always about structure, systems, processes for me. It always has been. And then coming into an entirely new industry was one hell of a learning curve. And it really is because the world's a very big place. You're not learning one single product. You're learning everywhere and
Mm,
all the different airlines, all of the, just everything you can imagine. Everywhere is new and is new for the first several years and you haven't heard of
mm,
things
mm.
and you have to be able to project a certain level of knowledge when you're talking to people. You have to be able to learn very quickly about these things. So having that structure there was very, very important. And I didn't realize it until I've come through it, just how important it was. And I think if you try to get into it without that, you kind of crash and burn quite early on, really. You wouldn't know where to begin. So, yeah, it was very, very important for me. It helped me enormously.
And you're very deliberate about the positioning of what you do. That you're not just a booking platform. You give the real concierge style treatment. So handling everything, airline check-ins, visas where necessary, check-ins while they're away, and then even a home call, a welcome home call when they get back. So, I mean, that's fantastic. I don't think I've ever had a welcome home call. How do you maintain that level of service as you continue to grow your business?
Yeah, I mean, the VIP concierge service is something that we provide as standard, and it really does set us apart. And you talk to new people about it, and they don't really understand what it is or know what it is.
Mm,
But something that's been kind of an unconscious move on behalf of the buyer in this industry, in the travel industry, is that there's been an awful lot stripped out from travel experiences over the last, say, probably 15 plus years. The move has gone from being a high street based model onto online. And there's lots of companies trying to push the online model and say, it'll save you this and save you that. And the only benefit they're really giving you is a financial saving. And that's literally it. But when you think about travel, when you think about why you travel and why you go away, and for most people, and I go back to how I started off the story, was saying that I was too busy to travel and I couldn't even rebook a holiday. There's lots of people in that position. And there's people that just need a lot more help and support. And when you go online, there's so many choices, it's bewildering. And so many people just get kind of decision lock, if you like, where there's so many choices out there, they just don't make a decision and they just stop and they come away from it for a break and they never get back to it again. So having so much choice without being able to filter it down to what you're really looking for and what you really want, I
mm,
personally think is a negative thing. And when I talk to people in some of the specialities that we work within, that's one of the biggest factors that have prevented them from moving forward in the past is just too much choice. On the back end of that, with giving all this choice, they've actually stripped out all of the service they provide as well. So you'll click a button, you'll buy your holiday, and you'll save a few quid doing so. And if something isn't right, if something goes wrong, you can't get hold of anybody. You have to go through, have to send an email or go on a chat and listen to a bot trying to talk to you and you're trying to explain what you want and you get given these few set answers and none of them suit what you want. But some of them will put the prices up. Some of them will cancel the holidays after you've done it. Some of them just make things so frustrating. And when you actually have a problem, that's when you really need the service to stand out. And that's when those online platforms tend to let you down quite a lot. And it is a big generalization and they're not all the same, but there's some of the online only businesses that are very hard to deal with when something goes wrong. And you mentioned Trustpilot earlier. There's a whole host of reviews, different companies out there who have had customers who are absolutely livid. And the way that I kind of break down the Trustpilot reviews is kind of a 5-star rating. Is five is everything was great. People loved it. No problems with anything at all. 4 stars are kind of some people don't like to give five. They want to make you work for a little bit more and make you feel you have something else to achieve. So they're going to give you a 4. But there was nothing really that went wrong. It's just they like to give 4s rather than 5s. A 3-star, I'd say, is kind of something's gone wrong. It wasn't quite what they thought it was going to be, but it was okay. But there's nothing, it wasn't great. It wasn't exceptional. It's not what they really wanted. A 2-star would be there were problems on it. And they may have been corrected, they may not have been. Maybe it was an unrelated problem, but there's an impact on the holiday, on the experience that the person had. And then a 1-star is there's been a problem. It could have been a really big problem, and they just haven't been listened to. Nothing's been put right. And when you start to read the 1-star reviews, especially on the travel industry, the 1-stars are people who are livid. They're absolutely fuming that they had a problem and they were just let down. They couldn't talk to a person. Or if they did, the person didn't really care. Their problem wasn't resolved. And that is huge out there. When you start looking through the reviews, and whenever I look at reviews, I don't go to the 5 stars because, 99% of time, everything should just work right. It should be as you expect it to be. The ones that really matter in the service delivery industry are what does a business do or a company do or a service provider do when things go wrong. That's what really, really matters. And you're overseas with your family, you're overseas in a vulnerable position. You need people to step up. You need that support of somebody who can put their arm around you, grab you, and say, right, I've got this. It's okay. And we're going to help you. We can't get a plane to fly if it's not going to fly, but we're certainly going to help you through this. And that is absolutely the difference between a traditional agent, a home worker, any of those personal services, and an online just click and book type service. So it also kind of stands out massively. And uh, on the whole experience that people want. You say for a year to go away. You go on holiday. For me, I needed a holiday because I needed to go and reconnect with the family. I needed a time with them again. And that's why I went down to travel agent to go and get that help and support. I didn't quite get it, but you go away, you work hard all year round, you have this big trip, you want to go and experience the time, you want to forget about all the problems going on, you just want to have family time. You want to have that time with the kids. You want to have the time not saying no all the time. You want to be able to say yes. You know, they want to go and have the ice cream. Yes, you can have the ice cream. Of course you can. Oh, you want to go play in the pool? Great, let's go play in the pool together. Are you going to go off and go and see something on the beach? Whatever a holiday is to you, when you go away with the family, you want that to matter. You want it to mean something and everyone to be happy on that experience. So finding the right trip and making sure it all lines up for everybody in the family is really important. Otherwise, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get that experience. So that's where the VIP concierge really stands out. It takes care of all of those things. It makes sure that we do care, that we take the time to find that perfect trip for you, everything that matters to everybody, because one partner might want to do something specific, another partner wants to do something else. The kids really love this, or love these activities, and getting all of those things into one in a way where it just flows. And you don't go on holiday and spend more time stressing out about is the transfer going to turn up. And you don't go on holiday worrying and having to think about your times and manage the flow of everything that's going to happen.
Mm.
And just go away and relax. And that's what a holiday is about. So that concierge service starts from the very beginning, helping you to book the holiday to get everything right from the start. And we kind of say, booking a holiday should be as much fun and as easy as taking a holiday. And it 100% should be. They will throughout the whole process. Any questions on the build up to it, drop a WhatsApp, make a phone call, however you prefer to communicate is entirely up to you. Answer any questions, all the help and support, manage changes in advance, and get you out there and have a great time. Check in with you when you're away. Is everything okay? Because lots of people don't like to complain or raise a problem, or they wait until they come back to raise a concern. Whereas if you raised it when you're there, you could have got it dealt with really quickly. And then when they return, my main question I want to ask people is, did you get what you expected? Did you get what I told you were going to get? Because that's the real mark of my service. And if something went wrong in a hotel, did we deal with it? And those other details. And there'll always be something somewhere, little line that, there was some noisy people in the resort, or, there's always things that are beyond people's control. But again, if you elevate it, you can still help deal with those situations. You can from afar, we still do. But it's, did you get what I told you going to get? And that's really important to me, because that's, in essence, my word and my promise to people is, this is what I'm going to give you. So to us, that whole piece is really important, kind of from start to finish. When you get back home, it's really important for us.
You mentioned about specializing in certain trips. I think Lapland, Disney, Caribbean have been popular ones that you've wanted to sort of focus on. And you've just launched a Florida and Caribbean combination brochure. How did you decide what to specialize in the first place? And what does that focus sort of change on how you attract your clients?
So when you start out in an industry you know nothing about, you don't have a clue, hence why the franchise is so important for me. And you try to be everything to everybody. And to some extent in this industry, you can provide a huge range of travel options, and you'll still do it to a very good standard, especially better than a click and buy online or something. And we work with a huge amount of suppliers. So we have over 430 suppliers. So you provide holidays going everywhere, doing everything. But you start to find there's certain types of holidays you like more than others. There's certain ones that resonate with you. And for me, Lapland, I've always been a snowy climate person. I've always loved it. I blame Wham myself. In
Yeah.
the last Christmas video, I know it's crazy,
Know exactly which one you mean. Yeah.
but there's a whole Christmas image in my head and that snowy
Yeah.
image, and I just
Yeah.
always wanted to go and do that.
Yeah.
I've just always loved the snowy climates. So because of that, Lapland drew me in very naturally, and I've been there several times. I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic area to go. It's a fantastic family area, and because it's Lapland, because of time of year when you go as well, it's so magical. It's just an amazing trip. And we've sold it, and we've sold ones to people from all different providers, and some people come back and they're not happy with what they've been sold, and the excursions didn't live up to what they should have been, and the support wasn't there. So you learn quite quickly over time, you have to align yourself with the right suppliers
Mm.
because that makes all of the difference with the experience that your customers, that the promise that I make again, the welcome home call is so important. They're going to have that experience. And for me, it's not get another booking. It's about helping those people to have the experiences that I couldn't get myself when I was a really busy person in work and needed that time more than anything else. So Lapland for me has just been one of those amazing, lovely places, and it's fantastic to sell. I absolutely love it. And kind of that brings us into families. So we happen to fall upon the family market because lots of families, young children, even older children, want to go out and explore it. Maybe not so much the Santa thing, but more the experiences thing. And then you'll have older couples and multi generational families who want to go out. There's a bigger group and something they couldn't do when they were younger, so they want to now treat all the family. And there's lots of different reasons why, but it kind of lends itself towards that family model, which again is what I struggled with when I was in work. So tend to fit into a natural marketplace, if that makes sense, where you resonate with it. And that's what I've done with kind of Lapland. Disney is another natural family product that people love. And all of these are really complex products. If you try and put them together by yourself, they're very complex. There's lots of moving parts, and it's ones that people need help with. So they value the help, they value the support that we give them because there's so many different elements to it to organize and arrange, and you want to get the most out of it. As I said earlier, last thing you want to do is be in Lapland and then you're waiting for a lift to turn up because you booked it yourself, and you're going to miss the excursion and all these other things that just stress you out as you're there.
Yeah.
You want to be there with your 5-year-old, your 8-year-old, however old they are, and just be present in that magic. You want to absorb it all because you're never getting that time back again. Never, ever will they be their age at
Yeah.
that time with the first impression of that whole magical environment. So, and that's why it matters to me is getting all those things really right for people, and families naturally fall into that marketplace. And so kind of helping them. And then they come to me for other holidays. They love what we did. So they say, where else can we go? What else can we do? So it starts to move up and expand up. And so Disney, absolutely. Caribbean, a fantastic place. Cruises, some fantastic family cruises. There's lots of blends of those family destinations. And we do also provide, we actually do a lot of Thailand as well.
Do you?
And that
Yeah.
would be families again, younger couples, honeymoons, those types of things. Vietnam, I'm off to Vietnam myself in a few weeks' time. And
Lovely.
so we still provide the whole world. We still get round and see lots of different things, but there's just those few products I think that really resonate with you and
Mm.
you love talking about and love doing. And for me, that's the family based stuff because I know I
100%.
can deliver a real big value to those people.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what it's about. It's about helping people in the way that I needed help when I was doing it. And I know that people appreciate it. I know that people need that help and support and trying to get away from the fog of online. There's so many things to do and see. And once somebody travels with you once and twice, you start to really learn about them. You learn about what they like, what they don't like, the resorts they like. So then you can take that and tap it into other holidays and rail journeys as well. That's something that's moving more and more lately, is rail journeys and
Mm.
some lovely ones through Italy and kind of across the Alps. Some lovely journeys going on and learning how people like to travel, their standards.
Mm.
They really basic travelers and they just want to get out there and they don't care about accommodation. It's all about the experience of getting out there. And maybe they were, I don't know, ex-military. They used to sleep in a sleeping bag somewhere and they really don't care where they stay. They just want to get out and about, which is fine. Although their partner usually has a different view to them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they've done all of that when they're younger and they want to have a nicer, more comfortable time. And they have a certain standard of hotel that they want to meet. And they have a certain standard of accommodation or resort and things. They want to make minimum standards. You learn that about people. And then when they go away, it's a really easy session for them. It's just, yeah, I want to go here and do this. And right,
Mm.
you like this type of resort, you like this.
Mm.
You like it nice and busy, like lots to do, or you want to have a nice
mm,
beach stay, you want it nice and relaxed, and you want to have a
mm,
higher level of service. And that's kind of what you learn about people when you work with people one on one and kind of help them to have those amazing travel experiences.
yeah. It's funny actually, when you've got that knowledge, how much you can apply that to someone who just really just have a clue. Because someone might go, "I want to go to Disneyland," and you've got two different experiences with Disneyland Paris and Orlando. Having been to both of them myself, there's a clear difference between the two actually.
Yeah.
And so I went to the Orlando destination first. And yeah, I was just like, oh my God, it's like a city. It is enormous, this place. I had no idea. I just thought it was going to be like a normal theme park. No
Yeah.
idea.
So Alton Towers or something.
It is it's colossal. It's massive.
Yeah.
I could speak to you for hours about travel, having traveled the world myself
Yeah.
for much of my life. And after the call, we'll have a chat about Lapland because that's on my list of places I want to go.
I'd love to. I'd love to.
Yeah, and moving on to your own marketing, in terms of how you get your business out there, you've actually got your own podcast channel.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I Yeah, which is great, and I'll link that in the description,
Oh, thank you.
which is so people can go and check that out. How has that channel moved the needle for you, and how do you sort of plan to push that properly and get business coming in through that medium?
Yeah, I guess the reason for doing a podcast, kind of several fold really, is it's there to increase exposure, but it's only exposure if it works and if it delivers something for people. And something that I wanted to do differently was deliver more value to people. And I believe that if you deliver more value than anybody else, then people will come and find you. People will want to work with you. People will want your service. And everything I do is about delivering more value than anybody else. The podcast is exactly that. It's not come and buy this, come and buy that, come buy the other every 2 minutes. It's not about that. It's about helping people to learn more about places before they go there, helping them to experience a lot more, helping to have a richer, more deeper travel journey. It's about providing inspiration. It's about helping them learn from other people's mistakes and or kind of issues that they've had when they're traveling. So it's there. It's really a tool to really help reach more people and say, you know what, guys, there's a better way to travel. And I spoke earlier about the online marketplace and just booking portals that they're just inhumane. You just click, you buy, and you have problems, you buy yourself. This is another avenue of us trying to say there's more to life than just a fly and a flop. Just get on a plane, go over and sit by a pool the whole time. And sometimes those are really important trips. Sometimes you need to unplug from life and just do nothing. I absolutely get it. And they're really important trips. But there is a greater move now, and the whole industry is seeing it, that people want more from their trips. They want to experience
Mm,
more. They don't just want to go away on all inclusive. They want to go away and go out and do excursions. They want to go away and go out and eat locally around the town and try the foods. People want a lot more from the travel experiences than what we used to provide within the UK travel market. So the podcast really helps people to give inspiration in that area, in that zone. And we've done typically, we want to provide way more information and knowledge than what they can find in other places. Through our training, and this is one of the reasons why I really thought a podcast would work well, is through all of our travel training, we'll do lots of webinars, lots of in-person training events where we're learning about resorts, destinations, suppliers, all these different uniquenesses about them all. And you get overwhelmed with knowledge, and it's so hard to be able to convey those out to people unless you just put a flyer out with all these bullet points that nobody's ever going to read, not really care about, and doesn't mean anything to the experience that people are going to have. So it was trying to find another way of helping people make informed decisions and learn more about the destinations they're going to in an easy to digest format. And the podcast does that very, very well. Pretty much like this is now, it's a nice conversational format. That's what we'll do. And we'll do it with travel and destination experts. They could be the tourist boards themselves. It could be local resorts, kind of anybody who has a mastery knowledge of that area is who we want to talk to. And in the conversation, way more comes out. We
mm,
started off with just trying to do a little bit of destination awareness, and then before you know it, you're asking questions, and they say something, and you go down a rabbit hole and go, oh, well, what about that? And tell me more about that. And you start to get into it a lot more. And so much information comes out. These little tidbits, you can't search online and find it. You can't
Mm,
find out about this wonderful place at the top of a mountain
mm,
that not everybody goes to. And the travel guys know about that. The tourist boards, they know about that stuff. They live there, they breathe it.
mm.
But you don't see it on Facebook because it's not the run of the mill place.
No.
And social media, everyone's got a nice photo, so everyone sees that and they go there and they want to replicate what they've seen on social media, as opposed to actually deep dive and travel and experience a lot more, and stay away from the crowds a lot of the time. Go somewhere the people aren't going. Go and get the real feel for the destination. So yeah, so that's what the podcast has ended up being. It's been some big deep dives. We did one with sandals,
Yeah.
which was kind of a resort topic. It was, I don't know how many episodes long. It went on for, it was over 2.5 hours recording time. It was only going to be like an hour. It just kind of went on for ages because there's so much to talk about with that resort. There's so
Mm,
many different things that marketing just can't do by itself to bring out. And we're doing one on Japan now with mid-series. It was 6 episodes, which is expanded up into, I think it's going to be about 12. And it goes on. There's so much detail. And
mm.
we really kind of dive deep with people who've lived there, who've done these things. Yeah, the Japan one's amazing. You've got to listen to the Japan one. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a listen to that one for sure. And that's another one on the list of places I really want to go. So definitely want to get a bit of info on that. How are you going to manage this kind of business as you try and grow the team moving forward?
Yeah. So January for us just gone. Previous Januaries have been really quiet, but the one just
Mm,
gone was crazy busy. They'd outsold any quarter we've had before just in a 1 month. And traditionally within travel, and this is something that not a lot of people know about, we call it peaks. It's generally the busiest time of the year. You get 60% of all holidays are sold within the peaks period, which is January, February, sometimes a bit of March. So there's a lot of work and build up to that. I was putting in the hours, doing lots and lots of work on it, getting it all there. But also October, November, December were really busy periods for me because of Lapland. Because we specialize in that, they're quite intense times. So we had that. January was my busiest, as I've said. It was absolute fantastic time. It outstripped any other quarter. But then because of that, what was like 4 months of intensity, really, then February was still strong, my strongest February of all. It was still quieter than the January was and where we wanted to be, and the same on March as well. Busiest March I've had on record. But again, it was getting less and less. So we kept getting less and less because of the being so busy. Couldn't do the marketing, couldn't do that front end stuff, couldn't keep the noise out there, the social aspects out there, and continue to drum stuff up. So it is a challenge as a solo business owner and working by yourself, is wearing all those different hats, juggling those different balls all the time, as I know you know well yourself, and being able to grow and develop from those positions is very challenging.
yeah.
So yeah, it's one we'll continue to work and develop. We do have a growth plan in place. We absolutely. The next step for us is we want to have a high street presence, and we want to be able to take our service levels and our support that we provide really well with people over the phone, and want to do it to more people and be in person. Get people in to come and see us. Come and say hello. Come and sit down. I think you can understand people far better when you're sat across from them than you ever can on the end of a phone. And that is great to be able to do that. I mean, we do video calls with everybody who we speak to,
Mhm.
and we want to be able to read them, understand them, see what lights their face up, see what excites them, see what they want to do, and make sure that we're tuning in what we're going to do. I'll do with that. But we want to be there so people come in, have a coffee, have a
Mm,
coffee, have a sit. I'll sit down. Everyone loves coffee, as we were talking about earlier. I'll come and have a drink, and just make sure that we could provide that next level of support for everybody, really. So that's our next real kind of target on that growth path. And we want to have that in by the end of the year, kind of again ready for our next busy period. But it's about growing that team to be able to achieve that. It's about finding the right people around you who are just as passionate about things as I am, who want to be able to help people above all else, who've had some of those travel experiences themselves to be able to recall upon and just know how important it is.
mm.
We never want to be a call center scenario. We never want to be, somebody who's clocking on, clocking off, taking all the phone calls, just banging through the calls. That's not us. It's never where we want to be. It's all about the personal service. It's all about helping people to um, travel better, have those enriching experiences that they want to have, whatever it is. See the world, family time, whatever those things are. And we just want to find more ways to help people do that.
We talked about AI and the effects it's having on the industry. So how do you think travel industry is going to change and how people are using or starting to use AI in planning their own trips? Where does the human expert still win?
Yeah. Um, the human expert in travel still wins by being a human expert, 100%. Um, AI can't feel. It doesn't understand feeling. It'll be programmed to understand happiness, and that's a positive thing, I guess. But it just can't. It can't translate the emotions that people have into what they actually want and how to build that into a trip. You say you want to go somewhere, you want to have a great time. What's a great time to somebody? You need a lot more background and information to understand what great means to somebody. Does great mean a music tour? Is that what they love? They absolutely love, Elvis Presley and want to go around that whole area and go and do that and Graceland. Or is it that they love churches and they like going around and looking at temples and those types of things? Is it culture? What is great to people? And you can't break that down within a one, I want to do the best things to do here, which is what happens. AI is building more and more itineraries, and it's great at aggregating information. It's great at finding what's out there and putting it together for you. I use AI regularly, analyzing data in my business. I look at booking patterns. I look at all different management information and data. I absolutely do not use it when it comes to building itineraries for people. I know who the suppliers are in the areas that I don't know, who have a far better understanding of what's the things to go and do and see in those areas. Where's the see Machu Picchu Japan cherry blossoms? There's around 50 million people that descend on Japan every year. The vast majority of them go, and I'm talking 70-80% odd, go within that summer period that I know is springish. But in that time window, it's a bit of an elongated time window. Majority of them go and land then. It's so busy, it's insane. There's millions and millions of people actually descend on them at that time. So when you've got all of the Japanese out there who want to go
Mm.
and see the cherry blossoms themselves, it's their holidays as well. They want to get down and go and see them. You have all these tourists coming in. It gets so congested and very, very busy. But
Mm.
you still want to see the cherry blossoms. So you need to know where else you can go and see them to have a great equal experience without ending up in the same one place that everybody else goes to. And there's different places, and some will be on kind of a sliding scale, who's more busy, who's less busy. And you'll tie that with an understanding of other things they want to go and see and do as well. And these experts will be able to absolutely pin down what will match your itinerary, what's the best place to go, where you can sit down in a park, as the Japanese do, spend a whole day there, have a picnic, relax, family time, and just take in a whole cherry blossom thing, as
Mm.
opposed to walking through a crowded area, taking a few photos, and then walking back off again.
Yeah.
And there's ways to travel. And I don't think it's not going to be there for a long, long time, if it ever will, be able to translate the emotion that you want to have and how to put that into getting around to see the world.
Mm.
People send me their itineraries out that are being built up. And it's like, okay, yeah, okay, well, that's fine. That's okay. I wouldn't do that. Absolutely not. You don't want to do it that way round, and you want to change this. And you just start picking the details apart from it. Because as I said earlier, Facebook, other social media platforms, it's lots of people doing popular things.
Mm.
And people go on there for inspiration, like, oh, right, it's a great photo. I want to go there and do that one, and it's amazing. But they don't, there's so much that they don't understand around the outsides of that as well, and how else you can go to get arguably a much better experience than the one in that photo.
Yeah.
And AI, because it's an aggregator, it finds that information, what's popular, what's most people talking about. It takes all that stuff in and it says, that's what you want to do. So people go, oh,
Mm.
great, I want to do that. So they're shifting from looking on social media to looking on AI.
Mm.
And it's AI's replicating what social media says and what websites say, as opposed to this is what you personally want to do with your family.
Mm.
And this will be the best way to go and do it to get that absolutely unique experience that you're looking for. So um, it's also very good at raising a floor, if that makes sense. Getting away from the problem areas, the problem zones. So bad resorts, bad hotels. It can raise a floor above that line. But
Mm,
what it can't really do is raise the ceiling. It can't really take
mm,
you above those next lines because it doesn't know.
mm.
It hasn't experienced or doesn't know what it can't find on the internet. It doesn't know about. It hasn't been physically to locations. It hasn't spoken to experts who live it and breathe it.
Mm.
So it can't get quite as high an experience level as you'll ever get with a human being who just knows who to call
Yeah,
and pick up the phone and say, I got this client, they want to go here and there, and this is what they love, and they want to do that. And they just come back with a whole list of stuff of must do's that,
yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah, great, amazing. And some I'll know, some I won't know. So I'll ask the right
yeah.
people. And that's generally what AI can't do for me, I don't find.
I completely agree. It's one of those things that can help you in some ways, but with what you do, where you've really got to have that human experience, especially when it comes to travel, knowing people and what they will really want. AI isn't there yet, and yeah, whether it will ever be, who knows? But it's probably going to be a long way off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a video put out years ago between Keanu Reeves, I think, and Elon Musk, and it was a conversation about AI. One thing Keanu said that Elon didn't have really an answer for is that it doesn't have emotion, it can't feel.
Mm.
And forgive the words, it was probably different words, but that was the gist of it. And
Yeah.
it's absolutely true. It's still the same today. No matter how much money they pump behind it, they will never be human beings.
No.
Never ever will. They won't understand human beings at the level which really matters and emotionally to people when they want to go
Yeah.
and do these things.
Yeah. And there's no soul to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking forward at your business for the next year, what's the one thing that has to happen for you to look back and think that's exactly where I needed to be?
Yeah. As I said, the shop opening for me is a big milestone, a big flag that I want to have. That
Mm,
enables me to grow the team, bring more people in, and start to extend out and deliver more great service to more people. And I'll see the world better, help them to get more experiences out with their travel. There's challenges to that. There's constant r- changing taxes, regulation, lots of the things that are making it harder and harder to employ people these days. And I guess that's going to be one of the toughest things to overcome, to be able to make it work out at a personal level and deliver that when there seems to be so many other pressures in the world as well. And, it's just the more people travel, the more we go by. I was putting a webinar together last year, and I was highlighting up the reasons for a travel agent, the reasons for a travel professional and why you need to use them. So I thought, okay, right, as I said earlier, when you need a travel professional, you need it when something goes wrong. Okay, so let's have a look at all the events that have been happening. So I started to kind of build together this chart of things going wrong in the world that's impacted people. You think about the ash cloud, you think about COVID, you think about these other large events that have impacted people, and you forget about all the other events going on all the time. And you think, then you dig a bit deeper, kind of Heathrow fire. It wasn't anything to do with the airport. It was completely outside of that remit, and it still had such an impact and a knock on effect. And what is happening beyond all shadow of a doubt is the number of these events that are happening are growing year on year. Who'd have thought we'd have had a complete shutdown over in Dubai, as we have had the UAE? That whole area has been doing really well, very popular. Lots of people want to go back to it. And all of a sudden it's changed. And there's been people trying to find their way around it and frantically handle it. And that's when you need help. And people will get caught up with the message out there, the public message all the time of shop round, do this, do that, which is important. You need to be getting value for money. You 100% do. But they're driven by the online of click and buy it now, buy it now. Things are changing, quick, buy it. But when it all goes wrong, you just don't have the support that you really need off people. And that's what gets me. So yeah, that's what I'm doing a year. How we're going to achieve it yet, we're still working on that plan, going to make it all work. We are looking to take on some more people working from home kind of currently, but ultimately we want to have that high street presence, that shop presence, welcome people in, shake them by the hand, look them in the eye, and extend our services to more people.
Amazing. Fantastic. So, anyone that's looking for a bespoke holiday, I'll leave your website and your email address in the description. So, anyone who's looking for that ultimate experience, they can get in touch with you directly. Thank you so much for joining today, Jason. It's been an absolute pleasure.
More than welcome. It's been great to be here, and thanks for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.